JaCoby Jones' exceptional range and plus speed, Niko Goodrum's rocket arm, Christin Stewart's raw power, Pete Kozma's soft hands. Put those strengths together and void the considerable weaknesses of the above-mentioned Tigers' talent, and, perhaps, you'd have a multi-dimensional, quality MLB player. You know, the type the Tigers have alarmingly failed to develop since the days of Tram and Lou, Gibby and Lance. Those type of players are extraordinarily difficult to find and procure. Advertisement. It's not about all 5 tools, either, but getting at least 3, and perhaps 4. Does anybody really care? Mike Trout doesn't have a particularly good throwing arm. But if the Tigers were to bypass Auburn pitcher Casey Mize, the consensus top prospect, despite lacking real high-end velocity, he sits about 95 miles per hour, and particular life on his fastball, and select a position player with the first overall pick in the MLB Draft on June 2nd, the expectation is an outstanding all-around player. It's just the options for that type of player aren't necessarily evident in this particular draft. There is no obvious Bryce Harper, Jr. college after graduating high school early, Justin Upton, Joe Mauer, Alex Rodriguez, Ken Griffey Jr. or Chipper Jones from the high school ranks in this draft. The above-mentioned players were so good and obvious at number 1 out of high school, there really wasn't much debate about it when they were taken first overall. A college position player first overall. When has that worked out? Darren Erstad, 1995. Phil Nevin, 1993. In recent memory, teams have not done it that much. The Braves made an exception with Vanderbilt shortstop Dansby Swanson a couple years ago, and the jury is still out. It's a tools issue. A player at the very top of the scouting chart is going to be drafted and signed to a contract that makes it nearly impossible to bypass for college. Players do mature and fill out. Sometimes there is dramatic progress with the so-called hit tool. But the multidimensional aspect of college position players remains largely the same from high school. So most of the top-end college position prospects are big and strong, power players, not necessarily overall players. Alec Bohm is a 6'5", 240-pound third baseman from Wichita State. He can really hit, but will he be a plus or a minus in other aspects? The comparables are much different in MLB than college. The Tigers have seen a lot of Georgia Tech catcher Joey Bart. By all accounts, Bart is a good catcher. He's a big 6'3", 225 guy with power. But what I find annoying about projections of Bart is that somehow his value is heightened by being from the same school as MLB catchers of note, Jason Varitek and Matt Wieters. It has nothing to do with anything when it comes to evaluating Bart. He has a propensity to strike out a lot, too. Does his power project with a wood bat? It didn't in the Cape Cod League last year. He looks like a first-round pick, sure, but first overall? The best college player is second baseman Nick Madrigal from Oregon State, but he's 5'7", 160 pounds. He is very athletic and will play solid defense. I'd be surprised if he doesn't hit for high average in MLB. But power is a question. He'll sting the ball, but can he lift it? Again. Madrigal is really good. Everybody knows it. But first overall, the college position player I've been most impressed by this spring is Florida third baseman Jonathan India. He's been arguably the best hitter in the nation this season, and he's a shortstop, who has been moved to third. Athleticism is not an issue. He is a plus runner and has a plus arm. India has a short, compact swing with a classic high kick, and he gets the barrel through the ball exceptionally well. There were some maturity issues. Scouts gossiped about his first 2 years at Florida, and they have lingered. But because of his stroke, power tool and multi-dimensional aspect, it wouldn't surprise me if he's the best player to come out of this draft. But here's fair warning on India compared to Bohm. India didn't hit with nearly as much power using a wood bat last summer in the Cape Cod League. Now that doesn't mean college players don't become MLB stars. Chris Bryant, Buster Posey, there's a long list. But it's not simple to project. Mize hasn't pitched nearly as well lately, but he still appears to be the best this MLB draft has to offer. It's going to yield great players. Every draft does, it seems. It's just some are more obvious than others. This one is particularly big, and as such, not a good year, frankly, for the Tigers to be holding the #1 overall selection.